What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about mana today through the Grayscale Trust. Let's get started. Let's do this. So looking at this here, we're talking about this for Sith Ewok, by the way. He's an Ewok, but he works for the Sith. 362. I don't think you work for the Sith. I think you just obey the Sith. I don't know. 362% weak back here, man, and you've been consolidating since. This is a really good look. It's a really good look. It's a good look for a few reasons, because doing this, consolidating, flagging, kind of is what it would be called, right, is nice, but also holding support at previous areas of resistance is also nice. If you put this right at the wicks, it's actually even better there, and it's kind of near this area of support as well. So support on previous resistance, at previous support, after a big move up like this, it looks pretty damn good. Bouncing off your 50, that also looks good. You're probably getting ready to break out. This could do very well. And there was someone else who was talking about if I think mana could go to $70 to $100, which mana, the underlying token, not this thing. I think this could go higher. Mana, the coin, if it could go to $70 to $100, what do I see this thing going to? And my answer was something on the lines of this, right? If we talk about mana, the coin, Decentraland, let's say it doesn't even hit $70, right? Let's say it's it does a $40 price. Okay, oops, that was way higher. And maybe it doesn't. Let's even say like 25. Okay, 25. That's still a 51x from here. Okay, almost a 52x from its current price. If mana on the Grayscale or through the Grayscale Trust were to do anything kind of in similarity to what the LTCN and BCHG, GBTC trusts have done, it'll see a premium. So if the other one had a 51x potential, I would assume that this thing, and it has more than that. It has much more than a 51x potential, in my opinion. But being conservative, let's say this thing saw a 2x premium, which a 2x premium for these things is a bit conservative, in my opinion. We could see this thing being worth a 100x, right, from here, which would be at about 1860, right, 1837, so $1,837 actually. No problem. To me, that's like no problem. Like, likely we will see higher prices than that. How high will it go? That's hard to say. And this is assuming, this is all based on the assumptions that we see some kind of premium like we did last cycle with the LTCN, BCHG, ETH-E trusts, stuff like that. Will we see the same kind of premiums here? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe because they're expected. Maybe they don't happen, or maybe they're smaller premiums. But I feel like a 2x is doable. But what do I know? I personally will not be buying the trusts through Grayscale. I will be buying, and I do own mana, the actual underlying asset. I take more solace, more a sense of security owning the asset myself, but that's just me. I absolutely do see these trusts, whatever mana stands to gain, this will gain more. That's my genuine opinion. So as far as why, my reason why is just I've always preferred to own the underlying asset whenever if it's an option, I would rather do that. Even at the cost of, or the potential risk of not seeing as many gains. But I do think this thing has gains in store for it. Now let's pretend that mana does do what I'm expecting it to do, which is go to that $70 to $100 range. So let's put it like right in the middle there, right? What would that be? 85, I believe. Sure, like right there. It's a little bit under, but whatever. That's a 169x. Now again, kind of assuming that the mana Decentraland Grayscale Trust wouldn't top at the same time as mana the coin would. The trusts seem to top before the coins do, and they hang around their tops a little bit. At least that's what it did last cycle. It'll probably be a whole different scenario this cycle, but basing it off of what we've seen in the last cycle, if this is the top for this cycle, I would assume that the Decentraland Trust tops off beforehand. So if it's at a 169x there, maybe you only get half of that. Maybe you only get half of that, something like that. Like what I mean by that is the Grayscale Trust would top off before this thing, or when this thing was around like half this price. I feel like that might be realistic. Maybe it's sometime afterwards, but again, I like to be conservative with my assumptions. maybe the Grayscale Trust tops off at the exact same day as the underlying asset does. That probably won't happen, but maybe it does. But let's just say half of this. So that would be roughly like 85%. Okay, so or an 85x. My bad. So we were at a 50x. Now we're at an 85x. If that's what we've got, and then the Grayscale Trust again pulling a 2x premium, which I think is very doable. 85 times 2 on a 2x would actually be exactly what we just saw for the kind of general potential for mana itself. This thing could see a 165x in itself, all the way up at $3,100. Absolutely, it could see these prices. I hope that all made sense. I hope you stuck with me on that. If you did, hit that like button, and if you didn't, hit that like button even harder. There's really no fibs to go off of here. It's really hard to do TA on something like this. So all we have is the underlying asset. That's why I looked at mana a good bit here, the underlying asset. As of right now, you're in this grand, what I can see, in my opinion, it's kind of grand accumulation zone, right? And you're looking like you want to break out of it. So if you thought this was a good week, I'm assuming there are going to be better weeks and better months to come that are going to be even more phenomenal. When this thing finally cuts loose, it's going to be explosive. You're at $18 now. You're going to hit $100 or more in no time. And again, I believe that to happen. I'm still not buying this personally. I would rather own the underlying asset, even at the cost of not seeing as much sick gains in a short amount of time. But that's just how it is, man. It's to each their own. To each their own risk tolerance or preference. I do mess around with ETFs. I do mess around with trusts, but mainly when I do that with like precious metals. I can actually own crypto like physically. I would prefer to do that. You know, if I could invest in gold and like actually have it, I would probably do that instead of the ETFs. You know what I mean? But that's not how it works. But enough about me, man. That's all I got. If you guys like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. I do think that Decentraland Mana Trust wants to go up from here, like rather immediately. If it were to pull down, it's not going to be lower than this low here. It might not even be all the way down to this low. Maybe pull right into like the middle of this range here, something like that, and then get ready. You're getting ready for your next move up, which, again, likely, in my opinion, would take you anywhere from like $50 to $100, and you're at 18 right now. So with much higher price targets in the meantime. And when I say your next move up, I don't mean it's going to be like this. It could be. It could be a 1 week glory candle, but maybe it takes a few weeks. Same distance, but more time to get there. But I do expect great things starting this week, next month, very soon. It's very, very soon. This thing wants to go up. I think so. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.